So here we have 1952 RCA and Zenith Shootout. Both of these sets came from the Vintage Radio and Communications Museum in Windsor, Connecticut, and they are both 17-inch sets of the 1952 model year. A couple of interesting things that came about with these was these are two of the first sets to have a rectangular glass CRT. The Zenith uses a 17 LP4. The RCA uses a 17 QP4A. Sometimes A means an improvement. Sometimes it means aluminized. The RCA seems to have a much better picture. Now, to be fair, both of these sets have rebuilt tubes in them. The one on the left, the Zenith, is a Sylvania rebuilt, and the one on the right, the RCA, had a rebuilt by a company named Palomar. These sets would have been comparable, probably in price and in features. They're both tabletop models. The Zenith has a leatherette case. The RCA, just a steel case. Both have their controls in the front. The Zenith has a door. However, the fine tune is located inside the door, and I would think that this must be a low-hour set because after a while, opening that door repeatedly to adjust the fine tuning would have broken it. This RCA here has all the controls up front. Interestingly also is that the RCA has provisions for a phonograph. This was the beginning of when they started selling the 45 RPM records. And this set would have allowed you to plug the turntable right into the back, and it had an internal amplifier. Circuitry-wise, these are quite different. The RCA set, in my opinion, performs a little better. It has better registration. They're both intercarrier sets, and that means that the audio is taken off right before the video after the IF section. They share the same IF section. Sets previous to 1950 had two IF sections, and basically you had a television signal circuit and an FM radio signal circuit that had to be tuned together. And it was tough to tune them, and it was very tough to align them. So these are both intercarrier. However, the RCA set, in my opinion, has much better audio. Of course, now we're going to have a scene where there's very little audio. The Zenith has trouble rejecting buzz, as you can hear. That was a big problem. And the reason why they're so different is that Zenith, along with other companies, despised Sarnoff and didn't want to pay for any of the patents. So what happened was Zenith, this is the Zenith print here, used an entirely different circuit to detect, amplify, and get the audio out versus the RCA. Again, they're both intercarrier sets, but they did the job differently. Zenith set struggled so much, this circuit design, in fact, that it has not only more alignments, but it has what's called a buzz control to try to get some of the white letter buzz out of it. And it's mediocre at best. I also think that the RCA has a much better registration of the picture. But again, these sets are quite old. Now, what we do with these is I don't restore them. I replace what's needed to get them in good operating condition. I replace most of the capacitors, reform the electrolytics, touch up the alignments on them, and get them so that they're reliable and we can present them at the museum and for daily use. We don't restuff caps and things like that. What we do is I keep the old caps inside the set in a bag. If somebody long after I'm off this earth wants to go ahead and restuff all the caps and put them in, they certainly can do that. So basically what you have here is for the 1952 model year, two sets that my old man or Ward Cleaver would have had to choose between. to buy for an inexpensive family set. So there you have it. If you want to see these in action, we shall have them displayed pretty soon up at the Vintage Radio and Communications Museum of Connecticut, Pearson Lane, Windsor, Connecticut. So there it is for your enjoyment.